Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Saturn Return Diaries podcast. My name is Courtney. If you're new here, hi, welcome. I'm so excited. I love doing these podcast episodes. They literally just make me so happy, and I could do this all the time. So, thank you for being here. If you're on YouTube, hello, welcome back. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. If you're on the podcast, well, hi again. Hello, we're in your ears today. And I'm so excited today to intro you. If you're not on YouTube right now, you won't be able to see this, but we are matching, me and my beautiful guest today, because we both love pink. So this is so on point and on brand. So I'm going to do a quick little intro and let you guys know who I'm talking with today. This is Ashley, which I'm so excited about. She is a medium channel psychic. I see her as very galactic, actually, but maybe that's because I don't know why. And yeah, she's a spiritual entrepreneur, and she really just offers her energy to the world in such a beautiful way. And I was so excited to have her on the podcast to talk about her Saturn return story and kind of like what happened in her life to get her where she is today. And just for some context, I was looking at Ashley's chart before we hopped on, and I'm like, oh, like you're born in 1990. Like you just finished your Saturn return. Like just. So this is wild. So people who are like Capricorn and Aquarius babies, like this is you. Okay, listen up. So yeah, Ashley, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah. Do you want to explain like a little bit of, I guess, who you are as a person? I love this question because I kind of explained what you do. But there's a human
Yeah.
here. So like, who is Ashley?
Who's Ashley during this lifetime? Ashley is a mom of three little girls, a wife. I live in Shelburne, Ontario. And for work, as you said, I'm a channel, I'm a spiritual mentor, an entrepreneur, a singer as well, if I want to add some stuff in. Songwriter, love writing. And yeah, what else? I mean, I guess I'm a lot of things. Honestly, it's just like so crazy because I'm like, I'm not just this, I'm like so many things. And we like always like put ourselves in a box, and I'm like, multifaceted, like I'm just everybody.
Yeah, just everybody. And that is like, I love that because it's like, you're not supposed to just be one thing. Like we're supposed to grow and evolve. Like when I first met you, you were the mermaid medium. And
Yes.
since then things have even like changed and evolved. And I think that's something that's so beautiful to watch because that even gives me permission to just keep changing and evolving. So I love that. And I love that answer. We are energy beings. Okay. We're here as Care Bears. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Light workers unite.
Yes, exactly. I love it. This is so funny. My nose is so itchy, and I've noticed that this happens when I'm around certain people. I don't know what this means, but like when I talk to like mediums or like psychics, my nose gets so itchy. Fun,
What?
yeah. Fun fact. I don't know if that means anything, but just so people know, that's why I'm itching my nose. Anywho, here we are today, and we're gonna dive in a little bit more. So thank you for saying more about who you are, but let's profile you a little bit. So, I'm obsessed with astrology. That's why we're here. I also really like human design and getting to know people through like personality aspects. So if you have any of those that you want to throw in that you know of yourself, whether that be like a life path number, you can throw it in there. But what is your sun, moon, rising?
Okay, so my sun is Aries and my moon is Capricorn and my rising is Virgo.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't
Like,
know my human design. I actually do know, but I completely forgot. So
oh,
I
good.
don't know
Yeah, you'll look it
it.
up after. I love that you're like a fire sign with two very strong like earth placements.
Yeah. And I'm not very grounded, I'll tell you that.
It's Okay, so I was getting next question. What do you like relate with your signs, and is there anything you don't relate with?
Um, the earthy does make sense because I have that connection with nature, and I always feel like I'm most grounded when I'm out in nature. I have to be always outside to cleanse and, just be at peace. And it allows me to get into that meditative state and that trance state as well. So that connection with the earth is really strong for me. So that makes sense. Aries, I'm very fiery when I want to be. And a lot of people I've seen um, like Love and Light work, Ashley, where there's a fiery Ashley too, where it's kind of like, I'll give you a million chances and I'll be very forgiving, but if you cross me again, like,
Done.
done.
Yeah. The Aries will come out.
The ears will come out, and I'm sorry, I'm not apologizing for it.
That is such an Aries thing to say. I love it so much. Aries is like that, yeah, they're the first one out of the gate, right? They're like, this is like, we're going this way. If you're not coming, then like, sorry, too
See you
bad.
later. Yes. And I always felt that way where I'm like, I'm just gonna do it. Like I never even think it through. I feel like most of the time I just kind of like jump in and I'm like, this is what I want to do, this is what I want, and this is what I'm gonna do, and I'm just gonna do it. And then I just do it. And it's like, if you don't want to come, then like see you later, you can stay back there.
Yeah. I freaking love that. That is like, imagine though, if so many, well, I feel like now people are trying to embody that more, which makes like Aries are actually really good life coaches and mentors, and they're the fastest manifestors because they have that mentality of like, let's just go for it. Let's just do it.
Yeah, yeah. And I honestly, I do feel like I can manifest things very quickly. And I didn't know that was an Aries thing.
Mhm.
I was just like, okay, because I truly believe that I can achieve it. And I truly believe that I can have it. And that's the thing too, right? Is like, okay, I'm going to get this, I'm going to get it quick, and this is what's going to happen. And then it's like, bam, now it's here, right?
Yeah. I love that. Let's all take a little note. And that is the, like, put a pin in that little statement there. I love it so much. Cool. Okay. Well, that's so great. So we know like a little bit more about you in this kind of term. So let's dive into the Saturn stuff. So when people like, I think are finding this, or like, oh my God, like what? I didn't even know that was a thing. So did you know, like, what do you know much about your Saturn return, or did you before?
No, I had no idea what it was. I think one of my friends had mentioned it to me a little while ago, and I was like, what does that mean? And then I saw your stuff and I was like, oh, this is the thing. But I didn't know like what like ages it was between. Like I had no idea. I thought it was just like your 20s.
Mm, I mean, yeah, well, that like end point of the 20s, but when you actually think about it, your 20s are so wild. Like it's like
Oh yeah.
you're in this like in between phase of all this stuff. So it makes sense that the end point of your 20s would be that portal of change, right? And we can see that in our even just our world without astrology. Like, when you're turning 28, 29, things in life start to change. You as a person start to change, right? It's a really big time. So that is the Saturn return portal. So for those of you who have maybe are new and haven't heard anything yet, just a reminder, there's back on my podcast, I go through what a Saturn return actually is. And so you can go back and listen to that. But today we're going to just dive in and see what was happening in Ashley's kind of those years. So for starters, what we'll do is obviously I said this at the beginning, but Ashley has Saturn in Capricorn in her fourth house. So, for those of you who maybe don't really know exactly what that means, just to break it down, Saturn is a planet of structure, right? So, that initiates that time where our structure in our life is changing on some level. And then in the fourth house, that has a lot to do with like almost our inner world, or the world that resides of our foundation, family, people in our life who kind of come in through our family. It's about our roots, everything that we're kind of planting in that area of life, structures essentially. And then to have it in the sign of Capricorn, that amplifies that energy. Capricorn is about structure and creating a system that holds what you are building. So let's kind of go back. You can tell us a little bit about your story. We'll start with when you were like, maybe like when you were 27, because 27 is the year that preps to come into the Saturn return. So what was going on for you around that time?
27. Well, I was working at Remax, a real estate center. I was working as a receptionist there. And I had my two girls, and we actually lived in a different house. So a lot has happened.
Oh my God.
So I've had a baby, I have a new house, all in this Saturn return. And I left my other job because of the pandemic, actually, really pushed me to go full time with this business. And otherwise I would have just stayed at my Remax job, I feel like.
Yeah.
A lot has shifted, a lot. Yeah. So then I had Ellie, who's my youngest. She's 2 now. And then we moved into this house last year. And so, yeah, things are shifting. And then like my business has been expanding, and relationships have shifted, a lot of relationships too. And I've met a lot of new people as well. And I think literally everything has changed.
Yeah. Well, that's like, okay, so you just said first, okay, so you had that job. Okay, actually,
Yeah.
no. So you had your kids. When did you have your 2 older girls?
Early 20s.
Early 20s.
Early 20s. So I had Charlotte when I was 21, and I had Grace when I was 23.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. So that was prior, like before your Saturn return. And then when you turned 27, that's when you had Ellie, your youngest daughter.
I think it was 28.
Okay.
Yeah. 28 was
Peak,
Ellie.
that's peak Saturn return. That is the peak of the mountain. Okay, so everything would have shifted then. So, and then at that time you were still working at the real estate office, you said?
Yeah. Remax, the real estate office. I was doing front desk and reception, and then I was doing some social media content for one of the teams in the real estate as well. So I was doing some like content creation, for them.
Yeah.
And then the pandemic happened, and I shifted more into my business because I was home and the kids were home. And so it really helped me kind of shift into that like full time. And so, yeah, and I'm here, and everything's just been amazing, like when it comes to like business side. And I'm really happy that actually happened. Not the pandemic, but
That's actually so wild to think about, because if we're going to look at it from like, okay, like a place of, you had your daughter, you already had two daughters, but you were home with them. So obviously shifting, and the pandemic shifted so many things for so many people. Like jobs were a huge thing, right? Like obviously it's still happening, but I didn't actually know that about you, that your business started like during the pandemic, or was
no, it didn't start.
Okay.
No. It was just part-time. So I actually started like about 5 years ago. I started my business, and it was basically mainly like through Facebook and my word of mouth and my website. And I was going and doing like in-person events, because that's before the pandemic, that's what we were doing, right? And then I was still working at Remax though. So it was kind of like I had those 2 jobs, but I really was kind of focusing more on Remax and not as much my soul-led business. And but it was still there. And then when I had Ellie, I actually took a year off because I was so sick from pregnancy that I couldn't even focus trying to do readings. I was throwing up all day, every day.
Wow.
And I took that year off. And then after I had Ellie was when I came back like really strong and went full force back into my business. And before it was ASHLEY the Medium. And then it was Mermaid Medium after that.
And now what is it?
Pardon?
Now what is it?
It's still a Mermaid Medium.
Oh, is it? Oh, I thought it changed again. Okay, I love that so much.
It did change at one point to Oh no, I didn't. I don't know if it was the name, but it was because I had a podcast and it was Spirit Magic. So it changed that. Yeah, yeah. That was another name of it. So it's always been like evolving and kind of like what's the word? Expanding and shifting like all the time. I feel like, especially like right now, it's just like everything's happening like so quickly and like so rapidly. And I'm just like, whoa, like let me catch up. Like, let me
Yeah.
integrate all of this.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it is like an actual fact. It feels like there's like no this okay, side note, people, we're gonna talk about the energy real quick. Like this
Yes.
is like it's so wild. Everything is changing so quickly. It's like you're on a treadmill, essentially, like running really fast. You get to take a quick break, then you go again. It's like this there the integration piece, which is kind of why I sort of feel like maybe some people's bodies are responding in ways with certain things because it needs time to catch up. I hope that was understood.
Yes, it totally makes sense. It's like we're receiving so much right now with like upgrades, downloads,
Mhm.
and just everything energetically going on like collectively too, especially for like empaths that feel everything so deeply collectively. It's like, yeah, our bodies, it's just like they're trying to integrate all of this, but it's happening so quickly.
Yeah.
And like seeing from this perspective too of like, isn't it crazy how like we're here right now in this very moment and we're called to be like in this place right now in this very moment while everything is going on? Like it's so crazy to think about.
So true. Literally, I'm like, okay. Like, literally, you can stop and I'll be walking down the street and I'm like, just wait a second. Like, what is going on? Like, what is actually going
It's
on?
real. Like,
Yeah. The 3D world is shifting and changing so much. And like, from another like consciousness level, we are just, yeah, it's so wild and it is so impactful that we're here right now. I literally have to keep telling myself, like, we are here right now for a reason. And that's actually something that I think I keep saying to myself during my own Saturn return, which is happening right now. I have to keep reminding myself, like, I am here for a reason because there are really hard times. So, actually, then that kind of makes me want to ask you, like, was there anything happening during, I know you said it's changed a lot, but was there anything that was super challenging for you during like the last couple of years of your life during that Saturn return phase?
yeah, I feel like just being overwhelmed with being a mother. Like, I mean, let's be honest, it's not all sunshine and rainbows all the time. And um, I have three kids, so it's like losing my patience and like feeling overwhelmed and trying to kind of get through the day and also struggling with, yeah, everything, feeling everything that's going on collectively around the world and like trying not to internalize it, but like really, it's really, really hard, especially being an empath and feeling everything.
Mhm.
But yeah, I feel like it's a real struggle trying to see from a bigger picture and trying to remind myself that yeah, we came here for a reason and everything's happening for a reason. But at times it's really, really hard because you want to be like, beam me up, like I want my aliens to come and grab me because I am done. Like, peace out with this physical realm. Like, I don't want to be here no more.
Yeah. Yeah. I've said that to myself all weekend.
I'm just like, please. And then I'm like, oh, I am grounded in my body. I am safe in my body. I'm meant to be here. I'm supposed to be here, or else I wouldn't be here. But then at the same time, I'm just like, peace out. Like, I don't want to be here anymore. It's a struggle, I feel like going back and forth with that right now. And just, oh,
Mm.
man, but yeah, that's happened and just like so many lessons, so much growth, and so many moments where like I struggle with anxiety, I struggle with depression. I have my whole life. Before I started my spiritual journey, I would have panic attacks all the time, and they have seemed to go away, which is really amazing. But sometimes it still comes up, right? That's the reality of it. And so trying to kind of navigate through this life and trying to yeah, I guess see that bigger picture and still trying to live from a space of love and spread love while like basically feeling like it's a shit show, you know?
Yes. Feeling like it's a
Be
teacher.
real.
That one off. I love that so much. I think like that's what I was gonna say. Like, there's so many lessons that we experience during our Saturn returns, during life. Like life is big. The Saturn return portal makes it a little bit more challenging because it's so amplified into one specific kind of area. So I want to kind of bring in a little bit of your astrology here, actually. So, um, knowing that, so you have Saturn at 23 degrees of Capricorn in the fourth house. And basically, what was happening all of 2020 for people who have Saturn in Saturn in Capricorn, that happened in 2017. It moved in. And then during 2020, actually, we were having Saturn in Capricorn. And that was the end of your Saturn return. So you were really getting this like energy of everything being taken out and prepping for essentially that rebirth that was kind of coming through. And, the good part about Saturn is that there's karma tied to it. So when you do your work that Saturn asks you to do to become the teacher of your life and kind of learn those lessons, then Saturn can reward you, which kind of seems like maybe that's what's happening in your life now.
Yeah, I feel like that. I lost there was a lot of relationships that I felt like I had to reevaluate and a lot of shadow work, a lot of things that I just kind of had to be aware of and really face at that point. Whereas like me being an Aries I just want to like ignore things and like run away from things until they catch up to me. And then I'm like, oh man, I guess I have to deal with all of this. But
Yeah. Yeah.
but it totally makes sense. And then I feel like when I do that work and I really like get into it and then I like purge all of those things as well, I feel like there's so much more room for all of these like blessings and like things that I actually want to come in. There's more space for that. And I feel like that has been happening lately. So definitely makes sense.
Oh, I love that so much. It's like you created the space by almost like facing those things that you would normally kind of be like, I just like don't want to deal with this.
Yeah.
But you reframed it to be like, well, I actually created space by dealing with them and, removing the things that maybe weren't aligned anymore, to bring in new ones. That's such a Saturn statement. And
I love it.
yeah, it's hard to know that. Like when you're in it, it's really hard to know that that's what's
It is.
happening.
It is. It is. And I feel like most of the time when I am in it, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like what's going on? I don't understand. I want to make logical sense of all of it. And then I feel like when I'm out of it and like time has passed, I'm like, oh my gosh, I completely understand why this happened. And I'm so glad it did.
Mm, I love that. Yeah, and I think too because because your Saturn is in the fourth house and you have that Capricorn energy. Capricorns are the builders, so they're really good at having a goal and working towards it. So I also don't think it's ironic that you were kind of pushed from the nest, so to speak, to go more full time in your business because that's Capricorn. Like we need to create a new structure and system for your life. So then that way it's going to sustain you moving forward into the next, like, I guess, phase. So I guess with that being said, what do you think, like on a business entrepreneurial level, I love talking about this stuff. What came up for you in regards to that over the last little bit?
Come
Anything?
up. I mean, obviously, I feel like when it comes to entrepreneurship, there's like these, and I was actually doing a reel on it. It was so funny, like just recently, about how there's like two moods where you're like so excited and so pumped, and you want to like create this, and you're so inspired. And then the next minute, you're like, I suck. This sucks. What's going on? Like, I'm never going to make any money. Like, nobody likes my stuff. And you're just like, what? It's so like two different ends of the spectrum. Like, and it's so crazy to me because that's how I feel all the time. Like, I'll go through phases where I'm feeling like so inspired and I'm like creating my website and I'm like creating this content and I'm putting out these offerings and like channeling all these courses. And I'm just like, this is amazing, like so fun. And then it's just like I have like one reading that maybe I thought, nobody else thought, but I thought sucked. And I'm just like, maybe I'm not meant to do this.
It just triggers everything. You're like, that's it. We're closing
Yeah,
shop.
we're closing shop. I'm never doing this again. I'm going back to Remax.
Oh my
Which
God.
I
That
really don't want to do that, but you know what I mean? It's just like, it's crazy.
I know exactly what you mean because I say this at least once a month, at
Yeah,
least
me too.
once a month. It is, and I appreciate you sharing that because I think like, it doesn't mean that every single person is going to build a business in their Saturn return. Although I do actually believe that with the way the world is going, it's a big portion of what's happening right now, especially with those who have Saturn in Capricorn and Saturn in Aquarius. So it's kind of ushering in this new world of ways of living. And, Ashley, you have this business, which I see as like, look at the path that you've now opened up for so many other people. And imagine if you would have stayed at Remax.
I never even thought of that. So thanks for bringing that up. Yeah. Wow. I wouldn't have met all of these amazing people. I wouldn't have all these amazing students who are like soul students, soul clients. Like, yeah, I wouldn't be doing this. And yeah, that's just so crazy to think about when you look at it that way.
Yeah, that's because it's like, right, that structurized piece. So it's like, how does creating a new structure in your life then allow other people to create new structures in theirs?
Yes.
And as an Aries, you're meant to lead a new path, because it's like, the first one. So I think that really, yeah, that relates so much to your astrology. I
Yeah.
love that so much. I'm gonna have another little look here. I just want to see. I'm very curious. So, you've been like, I need to talk about this. Like, you've been like a psychic or medium your whole life, right?
I mean, not my whole life, but my dad,
Right.
he's medium. So I have been around it. Yeah. Yeah. Except my mom is total opposite. So she's like more religious. She doesn't even believe spirits are real. So it's
What?
very two different. Yeah. And they were separated ever since I was little. So I would go over to my dad's house and it was like, let's go to the psychic fair and let's talk about spirit guides. And then we have my mom who's like, burn the Ouija board. And like, she literally threw it in a burning barrel. I'm like, that can't be good karma, mom. Like,
No. Oh no, that freaks me out. I don't know about that. I would just put it in a box on a shelf far away. Yeah.
right? Oh my gosh. So yeah, it's so I have been around it. My dad actually, I mean, he isn't as into it as he was before.
Mhm.
But I feel like when I think back on it now, there's so much that I took away from that. And I
Mm.
feel like I needed that to know that. And when I stepped into it, because it was my early 20s when I started hearing things clairaudiently, which is like in your mind's voice, telepathically. And I thought I was going crazy. So I was like, what the heck is going on? I'm hearing voices. And then I spoke to my dad, and he actually receives the exact same way. And it's really funny the similarities too of what I do now is what he used to do as well. And I'm just like, okay, it was preparing me, I felt like when I
Mm.
was younger. And now it's like I feel kind of more comfortable because I was around it before. And even though I do have still a lot of like self-limiting beliefs that come up sometimes, I feel like it just was not as crazy to me just because I've experienced it before, you know?
Yeah, you had that support system, like somebody there who kind of understood it, which that's so cool. And
Yeah.
now you do that for other people, which is amazing as well.
Makes me
Um,
happy.
yeah, I was gonna ask a question actually around that, but I just think that's so fascinating. Like you said, I thought I was going crazy. Um, Also, I kind of feel like that is really helpful for people to know right now. Um, I don't know if you have anything to say about that, but just I don't know. I feel like that's really an impactful message for what's happening right now.
Yeah, I feel like right now in this time, even like the past year,
Mhm.
everybody's gifts are being activated. Everything's opening up. And I feel like right now we're communicating with these higher beings more than ever. And they're helping us. They're helping us. Um, they're there as support. They're assisting us with humanity and like what's going on and kind of like talking us through it and giving us this like guidance and information, which is like so nice.
Mhm.
But more than ever, everybody is like, okay, I'm hearing things, I'm seeing things, I'm receiving things, I'm channeling, and I don't even know what the heck is going on. And so, yeah, it's really important piece of information to know that you aren't going crazy and that really this is just your gifts opening up, and it's actually a beautiful thing, right?
Mhm. It is really beautiful. I see so many people on TikTok who are like, what is going on with me? Like, it's wild. And I'm always like in the comments, I'm like, you're not crazy.
It's true. And I feel too, Spirit has told me like lots of times that like right now moving into this next phase, like we're going to have a lot of more spirit communication, and the veil is going to be a lot thinner, and there's going to be just a lot more channeling and more merging between different realms. Right. And
Mhm.
so I feel like, yeah, that's why everybody is kind of preparing for that, if that's the word, preparing for this to happen kind of like slowly. But I feel like at the same time, it's not really so. It's kind of like rapidly for us, I guess.
Yeah, like on a human level.
On a human level,
Yeah.
yeah, in like the
But
3D.
yeah, but like up there, they're like, yo, there's so much more that like you're not even,
They're
yeah.
like, we've been doing this for years, guys. Like these subtle messages we've been sending you, and you guys are just like, oh, it's a coincidence. And they're like, give me a break.
They're like laughing at us because we're like, well, I seen 111 12 times today.
Oh, they always laugh too because we want to like dissect every single sign that we receive too, and we want to make logical sense of every little thing. And sometimes they're just like, hey, we're just wanting to let you know we're here for support and we're like around you. Like not everything has to have like a specific meaning, but
That's such a human thing, isn't it?
yes, it's such a human thing. We have to make logical sense of everything. We have to dissect everything. It has to mean something to us, right?
Mm.
But they're just like, we're just here. We're supporting you. We want to let you know that we're around and like you can, connect with us. And it's more subtle than people think most of the time as well, I find. Whereas a lot of people think that me as a medium or a channel, like I see like things just start popping up and I like see it with like, in the 3D, and it's just like so distracting, or like there'd be screaming in my ear when it's really more subtle than people think it is.
Yes. Yeah. I'm learning all of this slowly. So
You learned tonight.
yeah, I'm so excited. I'm doing a course with Ashley tonight. It's a master class on channeling, and I'm so excited. I was like telling my mom, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to a channeling class tonight. Like
Yes.
so exciting. Okay, I need to ask you. I want to ask you like some fun, like very I know you were like, wait. I asked my on the last podcast I did with my friend Jeanette. We did this like little question at the end about compatibility. But it's fun to kind of like use astrology in a way that kind of relates to our lives in different ways. So first I want to say like what are your kids' signs? Like if you're open to telling them in your family, cuz
Uh,
obviously you have a family and it's like how does that relate?
so I have Charlotte, who's a Cancer. She's the oldest.
Mm.
And then I have Gracie, she's a Libra, and she's the middle. And then we have another Cancer, Ellie. She was actually going to be a Gemini and then just made it to be a Cancer because she was a little overdue.
Wow.
And then my husband's a Leo. So,
Oh, two I love this. Two fire signs as parents.
yeah.
And then you have a Libra middle child. Come on. The peacekeeper in the middle. It's
She
just
is
like,
though. She is though. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I didn't even know that. She honestly is though. Like
mm,
she's always like, and she's so affectionate and she's so loving and just so sweet. But then like we get these like random things that she says, and we're like, where did this come from? Like, how are you so wise? Like, where did what's this information coming
so
from?
wise.
Like she's
So
channeling or something.
yeah. Well, that's what I was going to ask you too, because I have like looked at kids' charts and seeing, especially the ones that are being born now. Um, Actually, if any child was born after 2012, they would have Pisces and Neptune. which is a hugely spiritual planet. And now with the effects of like Aquarius and all this stuff kind of happening with the kids being born now, it's so massive. But what are your kids like? Do you notice anything with them in regards to like their connection to spirit, or what's that like?
Well, Charlotte, my oldest, I do notice connection with that. She really loves crystals. She really loves cards. But I remember one time, this was like years ago at our old house, where she came out of her bedroom and came out to us and she said, Mom, I'm trying to sleep, but there's two people in my room and they're talking to each other and they won't stop. And it was like they weren't directly talking to her, though, she said. It was just like she was tuning into that frequency and they were like talking to each other beside her. So I was thinking, like, right away, I was like, okay, maybe they were her guides. And she was kind of just like tuning into that. But yeah, there's been other experiences too, where she's like, I had this dream of this and this and this. And then I would like see something on the news and I was like, whoa, because she doesn't watch the news. Right. And I was like, this just happened last night as she was having that dream. So there's some crazy things with Charlotte. She's very energetically sensitive as well, like very, and I can tell when she comes home from school, she takes on a lot of other people's energy and then kind of just has to release it, because a lot of times she'll cry and I'll be like, well, what's wrong? And she's like, I don't know. Right. And I think it's just that she's like carrying other people's things. So we've kind of worked on practices to try and protect her energy and put those energetic boundaries up. But I feel like she is very sensitive. But yeah, Gracie, she's the same. She's just kind of like, and I don't know, is Libra an air sign or what is it?
Air
Yeah,
sign.
she's very airy. Like
Mhm.
I have to call her name like 5 times
Yeah.
before she even realizes that I'm trying to talk to her, because she is so up in a different realm. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Mhm.
Like I am just like, where were you just now? Like
Yeah.
it's
Hello.
not.
Yeah.
I'm just like, what? What are you talking about? Like, I don't know what you were saying. I wasn't there. And she'll just like wander. She used to just wander off when she was a baby too. Like, we'd be in the forest and she would just like wander off like on her own and like talking away. I'm like, she's just talking to the fairies. Like, no big deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've noticed things like that, especially with my youngest though too. Yeah, like a lot of things where she will say, bye bye, doggy, like saying that there was a dog like flying out the window. And we think it was like a dog in spirit from my husband, because the way that she described him, like a black doggy, I was like, okay, well, that's the dog that passed. And she would always say bye bye, like when we would go in and get her. And it was like the dog was there, but then we're just like leaving when we went to go pick her up.
Oh my gosh. I just think that that is so cool and also fascinating and so supportive that you obviously would know, questions to ask and have like that ability to say like, oh, like, normalize it, you know,
Yeah,
and not make it scary. And that's like very incredible.
I feel like we definitely need to foster those abilities, right? Because when we're children, I feel like a lot of us are like we all are intuitive, but we're very open. And then we get conditioned that, it's just our imagination, or, it's not real. And then we kind of shut that down. And I feel like if we were to foster it, it would be a lot more easier to tap into by the time they got older and they wanted to utilize those gifts.
And again, not a coincidence that so many people are like spiritual entrepreneurs like coming up now. It's like we're doing what we're doing for the next generations. That's
Yes.
a fact. That's how it's always been. And we are in this time in the world where we're changing things super like apocalyptic like at the moment, but we're doing it.
We're here for a reason. We're here for a reason.
My shirt says we're all just walking each other home. I wear this a lot now because I'm like, okay.
True. It's
Yeah.
true. We need to be there for each other more than ever. Like we need unity more than ever in this time. I feel like
Mhm.
and with like such a division, it makes my heart sad. So I feel like,
Yeah.
yeah, we're all just trying to walk each other home here.
100%. Love, 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 love. We got to remember that. Okay. What is something I want to say, like, what is one of your favorite signs? Like, it could be like a friend that you have, like, yeah, you don't have to say that, but like, what is like an energy of a sign that you absolutely love?
Oh my gosh. I have to think. I really love Libras because I love Gracie and I have actually a couple students that are Libras and I really love that energy. I love Libras. Um, but I also have a lot of other Aries friends. I feel like we just like band together.
Power Squad. Yeah.
I do. I have a lot of Sagittarius friends too.
Hmm. Yeah.
Who's like one of my friends is just like, I feel like you have a type because like all of your friends are Sagittarius.
So many like fire, so much fire energy.
My dad's a Gemini. My best friend, Julie, shout out. She's a Gemini. And my father-in-law is a Gemini too. So I have a lot of Geminis around me. But I feel like my favorite would be Aquarius, just because they're so open-minded. And I feel like I'm what do you want to say? This is going to be a trigger word for everyone, but like a conspiracy theorist.
Bring it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm all
You're
about like
safe here.
aliens. And just like everything that is like totally out of the norm of like normal society. You know what I mean? And like out of the matrix.
Well, again, like you've got like those 3 planets in Aquarius and your north node is there. So that's kind of like saying, actually, this is interesting for people. I don't know. I haven't talked much about this, but in our Saturn returns, I really feel like we're kind of pushed to more follow our true north, right? Which in astrology, our true north is our north node.
Mhm.
So your north node is in Aquarius, which is paving that new path, doing things that are outside the box, doing things in a different way. And everyone who's in Aquarius right now or has like a strong Aquarius placement, you are being called towards being a new leader of the new earth.
Yes.
Conspiracize that.
Yeah, like is it a conspiracy theory if it's coming true? Like, come on, guys.
Yes. Words from an Aquarius, like that is like the Aquarius words right there. We love that.
I love them. I love them. And like I feel like they're so weird too. And I feel like I'm so weird. I don't think that is a bad word. Weird. I feel like it's just like goofy and silly and like outgoing. And I love that about you. So
Quirkiness. It's like,
yes.
I always said that when I was working in the schools, like to the kids, I would just be like the weirdest one, like of the adults, because I'm not really an adult,
Same.
and the kids I have a really strong connection to kids. Like I love them so much. And that's because I get it. Like I see that side. And I would always be weird. And they're like, Miss Burns, like, you're weird. I'm like, good, because the day I'm normal, something is wrong. Like I would rather be weird than normal. And they would always laugh. And it's like, exactly.
I know, right? But it's so healing too to make people laugh.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
healing over there.
Here for the every emotion. Here for every emotion. That is essentially what's going on. I love it. Is there like anything that you would say to people who are going through their Saturn return right now? That maybe you would have any advice, or even, I guess, taking that a little bit deeper, of like people who are going through their spiritual awakenings, reactivations, whatever you want to call it.
I would just say, honestly, I wish I could just tell myself like it's not going to last forever and this is just a phase and it never does last forever. And to remember too that your pain is your power as well. And it's really going to help you move forward in whatever you feel called to move forward in. But yeah, I feel like the main message that I keep receiving is just like, this is not going to last forever. Keep going. Don't give up right now because you're just getting started.
I love that. I'm like, yay, I needed that little message.
Yay.
You're just getting started. And it's so true. Every time we feel like we're breaking down And I'm sure there was times like when you were going through all of this, when you were sick with your youngest, when, you weren't going back to your job, like all of those things can look like our life is breaking down. It's like I have no control, like, you know, and really what's happening, like you said, is you're inviting in the new.
Mhm.
Um, and like there's a death part to that, right? Like
Yes.
that's something that I feel like maybe isn't talked about enough in situations like when you graduate or when move house. There is a part of you that is dying in that place, and that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's okay to grieve.
Yeah.
Like you need to grieve your old self in order to move into your new self, right? Yeah. And I feel like that, and it's just like when you get those like tarot cards and tarot or like death card, and people will always be like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna die, or this is so bad. I'm always just like, give me that, because that means that like everything's falling apart in order to make room for new things to come in. And unless we release the old, then we can't make room for the new. Like there's no room for the new to come in, right? So I feel like it's actually a really good thing.
Oh, I love that quote. I'm going to quote you on that. You have to release the old for the new to come in. This is like such a powerful theme. And I just feel like it's so resonant that we did this podcast today versus but when we were going to do it. And just with everything that's happening right now, it feels really aligned.
Yes, I agree. Divine timing.
Divine timing, everything. Okay, cool. Well, let's kind of wrap it up there. So where can people find you? What do you have announcements? That's what I ask people. Do you have any announcements that you want to share and tell people what's coming in your world?
Oh, any announcements? Well, you can find me on Instagram at mermaid.medium. And there, under my link in my bio, is basically like my link tree where it has all my website and anything else that you need to find on there. And what's really going on right now is September, I just have a reading circle and an activation circle. And you can find that on Instagram on my post. I'll be sharing that a lot. There's 5 spaces left. So yeah, that's
Yes.
basically what's going on.
Yay! Look at these announcements. I love them. I used to be I always put my hand up in primary school to go do the announcements. So I loved that.
I love that. Yes, I can tell. I see you as like a speaker anyway. So,
Yeah, I was literally, but one time, here's a fun fact. This is so funny. I had a retainer.
oh my gosh, so did I.
Yeah, but I was doing the announcements and I was like, so I'm not gonna do it in the mic, but I was like slurping. And I went back to class and someone's like, so we heard you slurping. And I was like, it was my retainer, okay.
Listen, you don't know what you're talking about. That was my retainer. Okay, I
Yeah.
wasn't drinking.
You go try and do it then. All right. You got to press a button and talk. They don't have these cool mics in school. Maybe they do
Oh
now.
my
I don't
gosh.
know. But anyway, um,
You kill
I
me.
love this so much. This is so much fun. I'm also, you sparked something in me that it'll be a surprise for the podcast, but I'm
Oh,
going to talk to you about it after because I was like, I think I have a collaboration idea, which would be super fun.
yes.
So yeah, I'll reach out to you about that. But everyone, seriously, go, and all the links will be below to connect with Ashley. I'll let you know how my channeling session learning a masterclass is tonight. I'm super excited about. So yeah, if anyone has any questions, go over and find her, or yeah, you can DM me at Saturn Return Diaries. Don't forget to leave a rating and review if you're on Apple. That really helps me out. Like, comment, subscribe on YouTube. Don't forget to come over and watch us. It's a different experience. And that's it. So thank you so much for being on the podcast. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I had so much fun.
All
Yay.
right. Well, see you guys later. See you in the next one.